So let's take this conversation forward. Then I'm joined in studio by Vikas Stale, the lawyer for student activist Cekeshe, as well as Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni, who is senior lecturer in criminal procedure at Monash University. Advocate Nthambeleni, let me pick it up with you. Let's talk about the pitfalls now, because this is, as you were saying, the president exercising his powers within the Constitution, but we have to receive this decision and process it and make of it what we want. There'll be those who are saying it's absolutely outrageous given the crime situation that we have in the country, and there'll be those who will be welcoming what the president has done. What is your sense of the pitfalls that are at play here, including issues such as the rate of reoffense, which the department tells us is not that high?
No, obviously the department will paint a good picture on their side. You are making an important point of looking at the crime statistics in the country. They are alarming, and we are all aware about that. And unfortunately, Tulas, this goes back to bite the state again. If an offender has been released and then recommits an offense, and then the Minister of Justice is sued again, for damages, and then it's the taxpayers' money, that must carry the burden. The Constitutional Court, the Concord decision of Michel, says the very same, issues relating to, an offender who was released on parole and go and commit another offense. So, the state again is going to be sued, for those kind of similar offences that have been committed by people that have reoffended. But the minister is painting a good picture. They're saying that it's low risk offence of people that have been checked, and all the T's and the I's will be crossed, and then all the biometrics and necessary things will be done. But the question is the deterrent one, the most important question that you're actually asking, that outside in the public, the society taken through this process of saying that these people are not going to reoffend. These are the type of offences that they have committed, and we have taken through them through the process of correction itself, because it's a relative process. It's neither here nor there. Whether a person is rehabilitated or not differs from one process to another. The minister was actually referring nicely to the psychologist's analysis in terms of what is expected of a person who has actually behaved, but it rests on the offender himself. And that entire process to us also involves the victims that have been affected by the crimes that you are actually relating to, and that's quite important as well.
Because as far as this conversation relates to your client, Cekeshe, I've seen two extremes in society. An extreme that says the sentence that was imposed, 8 years initially, was extremely harsh and irrational. Of course, the presiding officers have a discretion in as far as imposing sentences, but you've seen that criticism that says, how did this sentence even not get appealed right there and then as it was imposed? Then you have the other side that has argued that actually your client did the crime and therefore should do the time. We have an epidemic of people destroying public property, and at some point we have to start putting our foot down as society. How do you understand the decision that has now been taken around the issue of parole in addressing issues of sentencing, which are left to the discretion of presiding officers?
We must start first with, if a person is convicted and sentenced, the court must ensure that it's the correct person that's convicted and sentenced, and that the correct process was followed, and that the accused, or let's call him the accused, was afforded his constitutional rights in the process of convicting and sentencing him. We are saying that Kanye was denied his constitutional rights. That's why his conviction and the sentence should fall away. As for the minister's pronouncement, it is for crimes that are less serious. And we say Kanye did not commit the crime. And if you look at what other criminals are in the system, and if Kanye is a dangerous person or not, he falls squarely within the ambit of what the minister is intending to do.
Yeah, and Advocate Nthambeleni, that point that Vikas raises about the categories of people that qualify, I imagine that many people will welcome the fact that murderers, people convicted of rape, child abuse, incidents of so-called domestic violence will not benefit from this.
Yeah, and the habitual criminals, I think that's quite important to actually look at the categories of people that are eligible to be released and narrow down between the serious criminals and those that are convicted for life imprisonment. And we have given, he was given an example, and he was asked a question on the parole of Janus Walus as well. And
he dribbled that one.
Yeah, and then it didn't come out clear because he has to to read the judgment and consider that particular judgment in that case. And there, to us, the important factor of the crime that was committed and the impact on the society itself and the victims' rights are also catered into the picture to say we are not going to look at this case in isolation. Let's look at everything, how it has actually happened and how it has transpired, because it's important to us to note that the court will not interfere with that process and release him. They respect the process of the separation of powers, and it is the administrative function of the correctional services to make a determination whether this person really qualifies for parole. You cannot call it on your own to say, I've gone through the programs, I've done that, I'm remorseful, I'm showing contrition. The board that sits on itself must make a determination. You don't call it on your own. You might think that you have qualified, you have gone through the processes, but as the families in that case are saying that you have not come out with the truth completely, and you have not taken us anywhere. So if you are not coming and make a clear confession of saying that if the devil made me do it, you say it like that, let it be clear so that we know exactly what made you do this kind of offense.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming through. I really appreciate your time and your insights on this public holiday. Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni, as well as Attorney Vekas Stale. We've been talking about the announcement coming from the Department and the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, a remission of sentences for certain categories of offenders.